I think one of the big surprises was the slowdown in the growth rate of EV sales, which seems to have caught just about everybody unawares. And it's important to point out it's a slowdown in the growth rate. It's not as if EV sales are falling. They're not growing nearly as fast as they had been at the beginning of 2023.
The growth rate, to John's point, I think for industry advocates, it probably came as a little bit of a surprise. I'll be honest, it didn't surprise me, just because of what I've been focused on for years, is that we can only keep going back to the well of the early adopter mindset and hoping people will pre-educate enough that they just know what they want and they're ready to own and they're excited to do it. We're getting into that place now where people are buying an EV because that's the brand they like. Oh, Lexus finally has an EV, or Volvo has the one I've always wanted, or whatever it might be. And what's happening is they're discovering it's not about buying a car; it's about buying a new experience with fueling and energy and everything else. And I think that we're seeing the realities of when the general public isn't clamoring into a showroom to switch to electricity as a fuel. Those cars are going to sit there because there's a lot of unknowns that they're not wanting to research on their own that are different from early adopters. So, I think that that's going to become a very important topic here this year.
I have a bit of a different take than John, because the biggest moment for me was being surprised and shocked that the legacy automakers were surprised at they didn't understand the market. They clearly are failing at understanding the EV market and have an inability to forecast. Yep. It just boggles my mind, right? Like the amount of data these companies have, right? They have multiple people in their research department. They're getting data from the dealers and stuff, and they're surprised at what the sales is. So I was surprised that they were surprised. Anybody that understands math knows that as a market grows and gets bigger, even if the units continue to grow, which they are, we're going to increase roughly 50% year over year. The growth rate, because it's math, right? The growth rate actually declines because the denominator gets bigger, right? So I think the moment for me was just complete and utter, not understanding why the legacy automakers don't understand math and have an inability to forecast, because sales are growing. The other thing, which we'll get into, I'll get into a little bit later, is my EV pizza pie theory that sort of helps understand this. But I'll just sort of stop there. But it just boggles my mind.
No, I appreciate all of that. And I think it is kind of funny because kind of listening to all three of you, those are all themes that each of you have been kind of been talking about for definitely Matt and Lauren for years now. And I know, John, you've definitely kind of had your pulse on what's been going on in the EV industry. So I think that's why I'm kind of excited to get into this. Some of this I hope will be not just entertaining. I think there's going to be maybe a little, as we've had on a couple episode, venting.
This isn't coffee, Chase. Just
exactly.